I'll call this meeting to order. This meeting, all meetings of this council are open to the public. Proper notice have been posted and given to the press in accordance with Wisconsin statutes, so the citizens may be aware of the time, place, and agenda. Roll call.
Appleby? Here. Brunner?
Here.
Gunderson?
Here.
Kemp?
Here.
Nadowski?
Here.
Rasmussen?
Here.
All present.
And we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Bruce Brenner.
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the agenda. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Approve the minutes of the regular council meeting, September 21st, and a special council meeting.
Only the 21st.
Yeah, we don't have the 28th. I didn't get it in the packet, so I apologize on that. I'll hold that one to next month.
Okay, and a special common council meeting on 28th.
Yep, only the
Just
21st.
the
Make a
21st.
motion to approve the September 21st minutes.
I'll
Any
second.
questions? Got a second? Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Now you want the other one?
Nope, that one we'll hold till next month because we didn't
Okay.
get it in the packet.
All right. Frank, you're up.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank you for your patience with us during that book sale. We did make $507, which is the best we've made in quite a while. I took 2 loads of books that were left over to Goodwill. They were happy to receive me. I don't know that I've ever seen them, oh, you have some more books for us, so hopefully they're able to sell them. Then I also want to thank Pat and the council for the recommendation that we turn the bill in that we had received from the power company, or no, from the elevator company, because it blew our elevator power off. It's on 3-phase, and I don't know what happened there, but something between what they did and what they didn't do. But they did cover it. We've received the check, and library board really, really appreciates it. So, thank you, and if you have any questions, fire away.
How much was the check?
200
It
and,
was just under $300, I think.
yeah, $203 or something like that. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'll find it, I'll get it to you.
Frank, I got a question just out of curiosity. Last time I asked you about the little library up on the hill there in the post. Did you
Yeah.
find anything about that? Who's put it up or?
I saw
I see somebody put a chair there now and there's more books up there.
I think it was Jan Dalkey, I think.
Not Jen
There was something in the
Dalkey,
paper
but
about
it's
her,
somebody
or she
up there that
commented.
apparently decided to do it. It is not tied in with the library right
Okay.
here.
I was just curious. I don't think it's hurting anything and obviously somebody's using it, so I don't
Yeah.
know.
For those of you, and you may be the first to really hear about it, they're now going to go to something that those of us on the library board didn't totally understand, where you can now go on the internet through the library service and check out any not any magazine, they now have 85 magazines on file there, and it's yours to keep as long as you want, and then when you're done with it, you can just delete it. It'll be a certain number, and it's on a trial basis. I think that information is going to start coming out now, that it's through OWLS, but it's the entire state that is going to be doing it, and also spearheading it for our libraries here. And I apologize, I'm going to add one more thing. We did have quite a survey because, as I have mentioned, the good times are going to stop pretty soon in terms of the enrollments going up. They're starting to go down. What Christie did is looked over the last about 7 or 8 years, and we seem to be in pretty good shape with the libraries within the OWL system. All of them are starting to go down in terms of the enrollment. We're holding our own there, but I think it took us a little bit longer to start receding than it did a few other libraries, because some of them had been going down for the last 3-4 years. So it's not good news in that sense, but we still have plenty to do up there. And our loan going out is still about 4 times more than what we're bringing in, so we're thrilled about that. We seem to have the right items here for rental out to the rest of the public, so.
That tells me you're doing a good job. Thank you.
Somebody up there is doing a good job.
You're all doing a good job. Thank you. Committee reports, finance, Keith.
All right, finance, I'd like to make a motion to approve the contract C-15 pay request number 3 to IMO for $149,106.94.
Anybody got any questions on that? I think you know what it is.
Yeah, I've got a quick comment, on this one and on B-15, which is the final payment. We're waiting on some waiver of liens from some of their subcontractors, so when we pay, we get documentation back that they've then paid their subcontractors. So the, condition, if you could put it on this approval and on B-15, is that it would also be, conditioned on, or contingent on receiving those lien waivers.
So I'll amend my motion to add in that it is conditional upon the receiving the waivers.
Lien waivers,
Lien
yep.
waivers.
Yep, LIEN waivers.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Motion been made and seconded. Anybody got any more questions? Want a roll call?
We could take one, yeah.
Nadowski,
Aye.
Brenner,
Aye.
Rasmussen,
Aye.
Appleby, Aye.
Aye.
Gunderson, Kemp.
Alright, next I'd like to make a motion to approve checks 31740 through 31808 totaling $854,108.17 and the monthly financial statements.
Motion made
I'll second.
and seconded. Anybody got any questions? A roll call.
Appleby,
Aye.
Brenner,
Aye.
Gunderson,
Aye.
Kemp,
Aye.
Rasmussen,
Aye.
Nadowski.
Aye.
Thank you. Public Works, Bruce.
Hold on here. I was on the right, there we go. I'd like to recommend approval of contract A-15 pay request number 4, Myron, for $337,601.10.
A second.
Did I get a second on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keith, yep.
Anybody got any questions on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Also like to recommend approval of Clean Water Fund online submittal of authorization.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to approve clean water online submittal authorization. Any questions?
That's for the loan on the treatment plant project, so every year we've been doing it the fall for the next year. This gives the authority for us to just go online and apply, or have Cedar apply online for us.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
There's a
Motion carried.
deadline
Thank
for
you.
that too, isn't there?
Yeah, it's October 31st.
That's what I thought.
Yep, yep.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval of contract B-15 change order number 4 to Groot, $11,335.08. Credit.
Credit.
Second.
I think Patrick can explain that one.
Yes, so you go, in your packet, you have page 3 of 6, 4 of 6, 5, and then 6. And basically what it does now is, on the actual materials themselves that were in the bid for the Lakeshore Drive and the 3rd Avenue project, Cedar goes in after all the work's been done and they measure everything that was used and they compare it to the bids themselves. And so the actual measurements, so if we got 200 feet of pipe in the bid and we only get 180 feet, we would get a credit for that amount. And the net credit just on materials alone is the 11,000, is it 335? I don't have the amount right in front of me here, but yeah. But it's essentially, the original contract was 218,268.43 just for the work for DeGroot. And then with that change order, that gets us down to 206,933.35. That doesn't include any of the change orders that we had, any of the engineering that we had. So it's not, on those projects, it's not a full credit coming back to us, but it's a credit on the materials themselves. Does that make sense? You'll see that with City Hall and the treatment plant probably too, for any materials that don't get used that were bid out. So that's a good thing. You know, the fact that it's a credit is obviously a lot better than having more material used, so.
Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Who did the second?
I did.
Thank you.
Motion carried.
And also number 4, I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval of contract B15, pay request number 4 final for the group, $32,534.48.
I'll second.
We gotta add the waiver piece.
Yep, so this would be the other one then, if you could put in there contingent on receiving the lien waivers. And if I get them tomorrow, which is what I sort of expect, then we'll release the payments, you know, at the end of the week, but.
Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Police and fire, Mike.
Nothing at this time.
Public health,
I'd like to
Shanny.
make a motion or recommend approval of revision to chapter 47 Ethics Code Ordinance 2015-5.
4, this one's -4.
4, sorry.
-5 is gonna be the small batch brewing, so.
Sorry, wrong
That's okay.
number.
We'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded to approve revision of chapter 47, code -5,
4.
4,
Ordinance 2015-4. Yep.
2015-4. Questions on this?
Just a quick comment.
Do you have a copy of the 4? Because that's not in the packet. is it?
Oh, well, it's in the packet,
Yeah.
but what we did is we copied and pasted it into the ordinance, so it's got a header that says
Oh,
ordinance.
it's a separate one.
Yeah,
Okay, there it
but
is.
it's 7 pages. It's the draft ordinance that, I can tell you is heavily borrowed from the village of Swamico. And my understanding is that Swamico, had worked with Davis and Cuthaw, and they actually ran a pretty citizen-heavy review, where it took maybe 4 or 5 months, where they just talked about what kind of ethics code do they want to have. What this does essentially is it would repeal our chapter 47, and it takes all of the statutory language, you know, that the state law allows for you to have. All the good stuff is polished up that we had into this, and the things that we were missing are added in here. And this is a very base ethics code. The intent on my end, from what I understand, is that we're gonna keep reviewing this. Attorney Kelly's probably gonna have some language to add into here, that essentially says, on October 19th, you had a new ethics code, but if there's anything, any future claims that come in that reach backwards, and say, you know, 6 months ago or whatever it would be, that somebody's alleging that there was an ethics violation, even though we're not aware of any out there. But if somebody would come forward, Attorney Kelly's gonna have some language that addresses that, and so that you use this code, is what my understanding is. We had another issue that popped up with the City Hall project that we're clarifying with him, so I'm sorry I didn't get his clarifying language today, but, you know, our ethics code before had some things that said, you know, you had to be at meetings early and you couldn't leave early, and you couldn't look at people the wrong way and things like that, so this, you know, kinda gets rid of a lot of those things that maybe you couldn't enforce in the past. But what it does do is it achieves one of your goals, which was to recreate the ethics board as a citizen-only committee, where before you had, I think, the administrator and 2 council members. The intent when you started looking at this was to just get a citizen board. That's indicated, one of the sections here, I'm sorry, I just had my finger on it.
I think it's one of the last sections, actually.
It lays out how do you file a complaint, it lays out the hearing process. And then there are penalties, which are under number 9D. The ethics board does not enforce penalties. It actually would be enforced by the city council. So what the ethics board would do would be to make a recommendation to the city council then. If there's any complaints and if they're found to have cause, and then, you know, if it follows the process, the ethics board doesn't just get to reprimand or whatever, it does come to the council, so. Any questions?
Anybody got any questions? Got a motion and a second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Rec committee,
Nothing for council.
public property, Scott,
No action for council at this time.
thank you. Planning commission. Well, we just had that meeting, for you that weren't there, to combine this parcel lot. I would like a motion to combine this, how do we want to request, approve this request?
Yes.
Approve this request to combine the two parcels on 105 North Pine Street.
So moved.
Somebody got questions on it, or anybody know what we're talking about here?
A second.
I got a motion and a. you
Second
do?
by Keith.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And then the public hearing and zoning change to add small batch brewery to B1. A recommendation to adding
Motion
that.
to open up the
I'll
public
make a
hearing.
motion to open up the public hearing.
Oh, that's right. Gotta have a
I'll second
public
it.
hearing. Motion made to open public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is open.
Anyone from the public?
You want your input on a small batch brewery?
Oh, I don't want my input.
Yeah, we did, it was noticed in the County Post last week. They do it a little bit, I don't wanna say backwards, but our ordinance says that not the plan commission has the public hearing, but it's the city council. So that's why the public hearing procedurally ends up happening at the city council then.
All right, we had public hearing and nobody's here. Nobody said.
Take a motion to.
Take a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Make a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
I'll second it.
Motion made, second to close public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now, I entertain a recommendation to add small batch brewing to B1, general business zoning.
I'll make a motion to add small batch brewing to B1 general business zoning.
Yep, so it would be ordinance 2015-5, and the recommendation from the plan commission was to add it as a conditional use. And you do have a paper copy then of the ordinance, and if you go to page 2, you'll see in red, number 13 under a conditional use is where it would slot in then, if you would approve the ordinance as part of that recommendation.
I'll second his motion.
Should I clear up the motion then, just to say to approve the change to ordinance 2015-5 to include under the conditional uses, small batch and microbrewing operations?
That'll work.
Is that clean enough?
Nick made a motion, I got a second.
Before you make your motion, I want to make sure that we're very clear with, we've made it, I feel we made a grave error last time in allowing Performance to move into the old Benson factory because of their emissions and their smell. I know that at the time they allowed that, it was for the good of utilizing that building and for the tax base and things of that nature. I just want to make sure, going forward, that we realize that there may be a stench from microbrewing for the waste that is generated from your hops and your barleys and your fermentation processes. And let's go into this with our eyes wide open of the potentiality of that existing in a residential area.
Okay,
Okay?
appreciate that.
There, that's all I wanted to say.
That's what my question was too. I mean, this guy, we vote okay, he knows,
Yep.
he knows that information on C.
They would still have to come through us for a conditional use.
So they-
we still
yeah.
have the,
This isn't approving him.
no, this is approving the idea.
Yeah, this is just the idea, this is,
But still, the guy wants to have it here, so when that, if it gets to that point, is what I'm saying, he's fully aware of like what Scott's talking about.
he's gonna have
He
to come
knows
back
what
and talk
he
to us,
will
yeah.
produce and what's gonna be there, and that is one tight spot. If he has a sampling room, it's gonna be outside the building because there's
Yeah.
a chair outside the building, there's no room in there.
Yeah,
been in
I've talked to him a little bit about that, or we've exchanged emails on that. But if you wanna add the use, what the plan commission recommended, to your concerns that you raised, conditional use is the way to go with it. Because if you read, C on the front page, which is right from our ordinances where it says conditional use in bold, that whole paragraph lays out conditional uses, and then it lays out, the conditions that could be on
Okay.
there are harm to the public, of impact on the health, safety, noise. Those are all conditions that you can place on there. Now, the last conditional use permit you had was for Mitchell Automotive, and the condition you put on there was to add a fence. Now, problem we put on that was we didn't have a deadline on the fence, but the fence is now going up this week. But those are the types of things that you can go out and say, you still have, they still have to ask you for approval. And you have the ability to put conditions on there. And those are gonna be some of the questions, because if it's on that site, where are you gonna store things, what's gonna happen to your waste, parking, deliveries, traffic, all those types of things. Those are all things that they have to come to you and lay out a plan, and then it's up to you to vote yes or no. But having it in the code, under conditional use, doesn't mean that you have to automatically allow somebody to do it though, too. It's up to you guys.
Very good. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Got a motion made and seconded.
One way or the other.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Under new business, we have to approve a operator's license for Robin Rice. Check that one out, Jerry?
Well, Brandon did, which is fine.
Fine.
Make a motion to approve Robin Rice.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve license for Robin Rice. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Application for a cigarette license of Wilson's Brick House.
Make a motion to approve the cigarette license for Wilson Brick House.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve cigarette license of Wilson's Brick House. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carried. C, review the proposed general budget.
So at the committees this month, we have gone through each committee's section of the general budget. And tonight, we will not go line by line, because we've done that at committee. But what I will have you take a look at is page 1 of the packet, and it's the general budget summary, which is what we put out to the public to be published. We put it out, notice it, and then we noticed that on Monday, November 16th at 6:30, we will be having a public hearing on the budget, and that's when the final hearing would be, or the final vote would be on the budget. What we're predicting is, I believe it's a slight decrease overall in expenditures. I believe it's like 1.2%, but it's from 1.773 million dollars. So 1,773,828 is what we had budgeted for 2015. What we're looking at for 2016 in the budget, it's 1.755, so it's down about $18,000. That comes out to about 1.2%. The amount of general property tax in 2015, $745,442 is what we had levied. The amount that we're allowed to levy by the state is $754,626. That's based on net new construction. One of the things that we'll take a look at that's not included here is last year, in an effort to get the tax rate to stay the same, I think it was like the last week in November, you cut the amount of the general property tax levy by $4,700 because that kept the tax rate the same. That amount, there's two things that the state allows you to do. The next year, they allow you to recoup that amount that you didn't levy. Or there's another formula that they allow you to do, which is to spread that out over like 5 years. So you could collect 1/5 of it if you wanted to. Right now, we did have the board of review the very last date in September. And so the numbers that we have, we don't have the firm numbers of what the tax rate would be tonight, but we'll have that by the end of, maybe in 2 weeks. And so right now what we're looking at is just a general budget summary. And then the committees, again, will take a look at the final budget when we get through in November. But again, we're looking at about 1.755 in total revenues, and then in total general fund expenses too. there any questions on that?
Nobody? Okay,
Good, so what we would need then is just a motion on the publishing the general budget summary for 2016.
Make a motion to publish the budget summary for 2016.
One second.
motion made and seconded to publish the general budget for 2016. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Now I come to my report. I guess the biggest thing that happened with the county board, if you remember here a couple months ago, I said there was proposing a $100 wheel tax on your registration and all vehicles in the county. Breathe a sigh of relief, they voted that down, so probably won't come back up again for some time. Other than that, I guess I don't have much of anything else. Looks like our construction projects are going right along. Are they putting the floor in on the Spancrete?
Yes. Yep.
In the middle section, they're putting a Spancrete down on that. And we haven't come up with any more serious problems on it. Other than that second floor of Old City Hall is at real level, but they're gonna take care of that, they said. I guess that's all I got. Administrator's report.
Just to add on that a little bit, I think I talked about maybe a month ago when we redid the storm sewer in the back parking lot. We found this old, like, vault or cistern. We're almost exactly where we were gonna put a brand new storm manhole. Friday, they found yet another mysterious cavern underneath the city hall building, or underneath where we're gonna build the garage. They were digging to find the footings, or put in the footings for the police garage, and almost dead center between where they found the vault and the back wall of city hall, there was maybe 2 feet under the pavement, they found a manhole, and it was, almost looked like a pyramid of bricks, where it was like bricked up to the manhole, and then it sort of like, looked like reverse stairs almost. And at the bottom of this one wasn't dry, this one had maybe 1.5 feet of sludge and water in it, and a couple pipes that we're not sure where the pipes had gone to. But what we were able to do is we saved some money rather than hiring somebody to try to investigate those pipes. We took our jetter and we had our public works guys take the jetter down and see how far they could go to see if they went into the building or anything like that. And what we found was they probably went 3 or 4 feet out of that vault either way, and so it looked like they had been abandoned. Basically what we're gonna have Emil do is just fill that in with a big slurry. It's probably 15 feet deep. That's about 8 by 8 wide. So it's one more thing that we dug up. It's been a summer of digging up things that are very interesting, but
I still think that both of those possibly were reservoirs or cisterns, because that used to be the fire station. And they had to have a place to get water. And they did it the old fashioned way with the pump, the old fire truck we got over at the fire station. I think that's what it was years ago. But I don't know that, it would make sense, but
yeah.
years ago, every old house had a cistern for water, rainwater.
Yep.
And every fire station had a cistern for water for their trucks, so. And our old fire truck wasn't much, so it didn't take too big a cistern to put water in it.
Yep. So they do have the footings, they've got basement walls, almost all poured now, I believe. Today they're working on blocks for the elevator shaft, putting in floor joists for the old antique mall building, what's gonna be your council chamber floor, or your community room ceiling, whichever way you wanna look at it. But they are looking at, by the end of November, they'd like to have that middle building constructed and closed in, so that they can get their winter work done. I think over the next few weeks, you're gonna probably see a pretty, fast forward hike in work that gets done there, or what appears to be getting done there, so. That's a good thing. Obviously, we've been working on the budget, and then, other than that, it's business as usual, I would say.
Okay. Chief, you're on the floor.
Agree with you, Patrick, it is not
Well,
business as usual.
I knew you were coming next, so.
I'll just skip to the highlights. Last Wednesday, we took juvenile into custody for a variety of different reasons, and many of you may have seen it, maybe you didn't, but he ran from us on foot, we chased him down, detained him in handcuffs and leg shackles, and he kicked the window out of the back of the squad and hopped out, and we went on a little run through Stardary's compound, ultimately getting him again, and then he was put into my squad, and he attempted to kick the windows out of my squad, so we moved to the back of City Hall, and he was taken out of the car, and eventually transported to Riverside for medical clearance, and the window's been fixed. Thursday night, we had an overdose outside here. Adam and the ride-along that was with him did CPR for 22 minutes while they waited for the ambulance. That ultimately led to several other arrests that evening from the information we got from the people who overdosed, led us to the house where they had bought the drugs. So as everybody was sleeping, we were running around in the dark, and we took 3 people into custody for possession of drug paraphernalia, heroin, and an unknown substance which tested positive for crystal meth. That's the highlights. In and amongst that is cisterns and bugs and
Business as usual.
all sorts of things. It was just
That's
a
really
very,
what I
very
meant.
strange
That's what I
week.
meant.
But everybody's safe, and some bad guys are in jail, so we're happy. That's it.
Thanks, Sherry. Good job.
Can someone from the audience ask a question? I'm curious on this 22 minutes, because talking to other people in town, it's not the first time that the ambulance service has been in need for over 15, 20 minutes. Is there a problem here? Do we need to do some checking, or?
We've had quite a few discussions with Gold Cross, and the highest people there are at Gold Cross. We did have a meeting 4 or 5 months ago at the fire district, because the town of Weyauwega, the town of Royalton, town of Lynn, they're all at that meeting. So Gold Cross had come to that meeting, and they laid out that their average response time in the city of Weyauwega is 15 minutes. And I'll put that out. So,
Well, I'm sitting here and somewhat shaking my head, because you mentioned that they came late and then they come with 2 ambulances. How many ambulances do they have in Weyauwega, or did they clean Weyauwega out?
supposed to have one there and then one that's stationed out of
They ended
Weyauwega.
up with both of them here. I saw them coming in. And then one took off empty and the other one waited. I thought, so, sorry, I'm
Oh, that's
still
okay.
talking, but that was a little odd.
Thanks, Frank.
Next.
Next.
Contract them then?
We're in a contract, as are all the other towns in our cluster around us. All the towns in the city of Waupaca's got sort of their own cluster, and then New London's got their own. And then we're all sort of considered in a consortium now. Basically, we all pay the same rate. It's $12.50 per head of population. And when it's $12.50 times 1,900 people, we're paying about $23,000 for the service. And I don't know that you have any competition that anybody else can charge you $23,000 and run a paramedic service, you know. So, I don't mean to say we don't have any other options, but, you know, realistically, it's working with them. As issues come up, we pass them on and try to work with them.
Okay.
And it's not like years ago when we used to have people on call and the ambulance sat there now. You know, now they're,
We were spoiled.
yeah, right. And now they did tell us at that fire meeting that night, or that, they move their ambulances around. They never know, you know, they may have to move them out down towards Fremont, or they may have to move them over towards New London. So they're not gonna be sitting right here in Weyauwega at all times.
Cause if there's a call like from Weyauwega, then we have to go part way or something. I mean, that, you know, everybody has to shift accordingly.
Usually you look at between Weyauwega and Weyauwega, if one of them goes out, the other one will go sit like at Fleet Farm. If it's
Yeah.
Weyauwega to London, one will go out, the other one will go to like the crossings. And for us, I'm not sure exactly where it is going into London because that's new this year. But I think it's probably close to the
Probably
campground, I would think, somewhere in there on X. Or you think the crossings?
I would say probably the crossings, because
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
I
they
don't know
go-
that they never really said, I don't think, on us. But the one thing we laid out to them was obviously that's where the train blocks. So, you know, that's something that they're more aware of too. Hopefully.
That's why you don't wanna lose your local services.
Yeah. Okay, set the meeting calendar for November.
Finance has been set for November 2nd at 5:30. Public Works was already set for November 9th at 5:30. And then City Council on the 16th at 6:30. We need to schedule police. Do we need a rec? And do we need an ordinance? I'm assuming ordinance. We need rec.
Yeah.
Need all three of them? We have to go over the swim lake stuff, you can have those numbers
Yes,
and everything?
we'll have that, yep.
Okay, so,
If it's not the first week, we'll have it for sure. If it's like that second week.
okay, so the 10th for rec and police again? Does that work?
Rec at 6,
Rec at
police to
6.
follow.
Yep.
Ordinance?
Can we do that, what, Wednesday, the 11th then? Does that work for you, Nick? Does that
Sure.
work for you, Keith?
Yeah, good.
6 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay.
Becky, what was the time on the 10th
Rec will start at 6, police will be
after?
immediately following.
We'll put a hold on public property.
Okay.
Oh, no. We will need a public property. Let's schedule a public property. There's a couple things that are sort of moving out there. I think last time you stuck it in between rec and police and we got behind on the first one and then behind on the second one and
I done third one.
You wanna do it, well,
Can't imagine why.
yeah, well, no, that was,
we've been
it was
behind.
real super quick.
This'll be quick, look out.
you can do it either the 10th or the 11th.
I can't say that again in my house.
Do it after,
I don't say it in my house.
On the 10th.
do it after ordinance or do it after
Rec and
police?
Yeah,
Next time you say it, I'm slapping it.
I'm not on public property, so if
Public-
you wanna do it after police, I'm fine with that, cause I won't be there.
Scott, Shaney, and you. On public property.
And Shaney's on
Shaney's on
rec,
rec.
so she'd have to sit through the police meeting. I think that's where we held it in between the other two, because you had people coming and going.
You can just do it on the back of, on Wednesday if you want to.
You can do that
On the ordinance one?
after
That doesn't
ordinance.
work for
The
you.
ordinance one shouldn't be that long. I don't
Flexible, I
think.
know your time is.
Shaney's there for
super
ordinance
quick,
either
better
night,
than mine
so.
is.
No, my kids are out of nothing for a whole month, so November is free.
I'm open.
What works for you, Mike? Tuesday or Wednesday?
I can do Wednesday, I think,
Wednesday, okay.
I mean, if we have.
Do you want it to go first before ordinance, or you want ordinance to go first?
I would say first. Do this one first.
Do public property first,
Yeah.
and then ordinance to follow?
Is it shorter, or what, is that why?
You may have the public show up, the two that came to the last one.
Oh.
They may
They
come.
wanted to wait,
Yeah.
Okay.
that
I
makes
was gonna
sense.
say, for me, it probably worked better for the later one, but
Oh, well, either way.
I'll try.
We could always
I'll try
push
to
the
make
meetings
it.
back too if you want.
It always start at 6:30 if you want to have 6.
Doesn't really matter to me, so.
Yeah. Cause now I'm getting into the cold season and it's
Mhm.
extending my day longer.
So should we start public property then at 6:30 with ordinance following?
Yeah,
Does that
sure.
work?
Sounds like a good deal.
Sure.
Okay, got them?
Yep.
All right, now I'm gonna entertain a motion to go into closed session. Closed session pursuant to 19.85 Wisconsin statute conferring with legal counsel for governmental body and rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which is likely to become involved. The reason for this closed session is to discuss ordinances regarding the railroad. The council may choose to reconvene in open session at the completion of closed session in order to take action and items.
So I'll make a motion to go to closed session on 19.851G, and then also, should I read the second one, just go ahead and tie that in there?
Sure.
Make a motion on, also a closed session for 19.851C, Wisconsin statute, consideration of employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of the city employee who is subject to jurisdiction or authority of the council. The reason for the closed session is review city health insurance program and wages for the 2016 budget. The council may choose to reconvene in open session at the completion of the closed session in order to take action on items from the closed session.
Second? I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to go in closed session. Roll call.
Brenner?
Aye.
Kemp?
Aye.
Gunderson?
Aye.
Appleby?
Aye.
Rasmussen?
Aye.
Nadowski?
Aye.
7:30.